Hello and welcome to yet another edition of the Spotlight, and we meet again on this Monday evening, dear viewers. Now, preserving and sharing the rich cultural heritage of Bharatanatyam is inspiring, but it is also important to protect this rich cultural heritage. Now, this form of dance has been in existence for over thousands of years. So, to talk more about this, I have with me in the studios Natyapoorna Dr. Nirmala John, Directress of Nirmalanjali Academy of Bharatanatyam. Thank you for joining us today, and the honor is truly ours for coming on board to talk on this beautiful dance that we call Bharatanatyam. So my first question for you, Miss, is the history of Bharatanatyam. As I mentioned before, this has been in existence for over thousands of years, and we would like to know, our viewers would also like to know, where did this all start, Miss?
It is believed that in the 1st century, a sage called Bharathamuni wrote this scripture, Natya Shastra, and it has 36 chapters, which is being used by all the Indian classical dancers. We have more than 8 Indian classical dancers, which all these dance forms are based on Natya Shastra.
Right.
And it becomes a classical dance when these dance forms, all these dance forms, when they create a storytelling ability in this dance form, it becomes a classical dance. So in Indian dances, these dances are all based on Natya Shastra.
So Miss, this started in which region in India, to be precise, back thousands of years ago? There are some stories that say it started in Tamil Nadu. Is that true?
No. It was the scripture. This thesis was written by Bharathamuni.
Okay.
And Bharatanatyam is a South Indian dance. So according to each regions, these dances were Bharatanatyam, Kathak, Kathakali, Manipuri, Kuchipudi, Mohiniyattam, all these dances in their own regions they started coming up. But Bharatanatyam was the first. It was not called Bharatanatyam then.
Really?
It was called Sadir, Dasiyattam, Sinnamerlam. These names were given to this. And when this Sadir was mainly preserved by the Devadasis, and it was preserved in Hindu temples. So these Devadasis were beautiful damsels who dedicated their lives, and they were betrothed to the temple deity, and they lived there, and they were given good gurus. They were all called Nattuvanars, where they performed in front of a deity of that particular temple where they were living. So it all began from Natya Shastra, correct, but then it came down, and these Devadasis were the main ladies who kept this art form live for centuries and centuries till the beginning of 19th century.
Right. Miss, another question that sort of floats the minds of people when it comes to Bharatanatyam, is it closely associated to culture, or is it more towards religion?
It is both, culture and religion both. So through culture, through learning these art forms, you bring out your culture, and your identity is brought out. So though we are Sri Lankans, but we also use the same dance form to bring out our culture. So, but through my research, what I came to know is, though we are Sri Lankans, we are using this dance form, actually this dance form is us also, because India and Sri Lanka was centuries before one country, Akhanda Bharatam. So all their culture was here, all Tamil Nadu culture was here in Sri Lanka. When they got married here in Sri Lanka, they always saw to it they brought a princess from there to get married here. So it was all interrelated. So and then so now it is, though our main dance forms are Udarata, Patharata, our dance forms, But our government has brought Bharatanatyam, has accepted Bharatanatyam as ours, and it has been given educational status. So Bharatanatyam is a unique art form which is performed all over the world now. Actually speaking, it is a language.
That's true. Miss, so in terms of different styles, this you said that it varies from region to region. So how does it vary in terms of movements? How does it change?
According to each region, they created their dance forms. So Bharatanatyam is from Tamil Nadu. Same way, North Indian dance, Kathak. So each regions created their own dance forms.
Okay. So Miss, now let's talk a little bit about you. How did you become a professional and a seasoned Bharatanatyam dancer? And you also sort of branched out into being a very qualified teacher as well, Dr. Nirmala John. How did this all start? What is your story?
Story, it's a big story. So my father is a script writer, he's a dramatist who does dramas, and his lineage belongs to poet Thambi Muthu and then Swami Jnana Prahasar, who are all writers. And my elder sister used to dance, but at that time when she started learning dancing, it was like then prohibited in India, and it was just coming into Sri Lanka. This Devadasi system which I told you, they were all beautiful dancers, but with time they lost their spirituality and different things happened in their lives. So in India it was banned by act. It was banned that no more Devadasi system in temples. So in Sri Lanka at that time, in the 50s, 60s, Sri Lanka, they were all not, there were Devadasis in Sri Lanka, there is evidence, but people were not willing to go and see them perform. So when my sister started learning, my father's brother said, no, this is not for us, we are not going to learn this dance form. I think you should stop your daughter. So she was stopped. But me, I was at Holy Family Bamba. So when I got the opportunity to learn this, I sneaked
You
in.
jumped.
I did sneak it. And I went to this particular teacher, my first guru, Mrs. Mangaleswari Padmanathan, and told her, I love this dance form, will you teach me? Then she looked at me and said, yeah, why not? Then I said, okay, I'll start, and I started. But I didn't have any fees to give her because I didn't let my home know what I was doing. I was 11 years old.
So you started straight off with the wanting to learn.
Yeah. So then I was with her learning, and she never expected the fees actually. So whatever I had my pocket money, I will go and give it to her. So then she used to wonder, what is this child? Okay, anyway, she's a good dancer who's showing interest, let me teach her. So 2 years went, and then she once called me and said, you're really good. There's a Bank of Ceylon program, a Navaratri show. I would like you to take part in it. So now after school practice is not enough. Why don't you come home? Then I got scared now.
Yeah.
After school I can't stay, I have to go to a home. So I told my mother slowly that I've been learning, and she got a shock. How come? I said, yeah, I stayed for netball, but actually not netball, I was learning dancing. So when my sister was stopped, that's the reason that I wouldn't tell anyone. So, but then when she heard, she was happy because she was a Manipuri dancer before.
Right.
Then she said, okay, and when my father came, she told, he was also happy now. Now the years have passed, my sister is now a big girl and I am now, so then
it sort of grew from there.
Yeah, so when I came, they took me to this teacher with her address, and when she saw him, my father, she was shocked, sir, is this your daughter? Because he has done a drama for Holy Family, Pasatinpur on Ravana.
So she didn't know that the connection.
She didn't know this is the daughter, so she was shocked. And then from that day onwards, my parents were supporting me.
Right.
And it all went on well. So finally I'm here.
It has been a brilliant journey, Miss, if you really think about it. And let's talk about in Sri Lanka, Miss. Now, as much as the Sri Lankan dance, as in like the local dances like Udarata, the Kandyan dances, Patharata, are all in existence. It's widely spread across the country. Do you see a similar area of expertise, like a widespread of welcoming for Bharata in Sri Lanka?
Oh yeah, why not? Children are flocking into classes. If you see now, when I learned, there were just a few handful of teachers then. But now, this is a main subject in all the universities.
Yeah.
Jaffna University, Swami Vibhulananda University, even our Visual and Performing Arts, Kalaniya University, then even the Horana University, everybody has the Bharatanatyam training, their bachelors and even masters.
Yeah.
So, it is widely learned not only by the Tamils, by the Sinhalese, and also a few Muslims are also now learning. Recently, last year I had an Arangetram for a Muslim girl. So, that is now everybody are widely learning.
Which is a good thing. It's
a
nice
good
to know
thing.
that
so
this culture
cultural
is,
exchange is taking very speed changes, making unity in the country actually.
That's right, Miss. Now, every dance has a story, whichever genre, whether it's ballet, Kandyan, Bharata, every dance has a unique story that it gives to an audience watching. Now, in terms of Bharatanatyam, Miss, the dance is a little complex sometimes. As a viewer watching this dance, how do I understand the story? In terms of the music, maybe language might be sometimes, like understanding the music might be a
music
difficulty.
won't be a problem, maybe the language. No?
Maybe the language.
Yeah.
So, Miss, how do you sort of, as a viewer, how would you ask us to analyze the dance?
Okay, so now if it's a real Tamil padam, a Tamil song performed, yes, for the viewer it's difficult. If she's a Sinhalese or even a Burgher or a Muslim who doesn't know Tamil, then it is difficult.
Yes.
But then we give a synopsis, an explanation
Before the dance.
before the dance.
Right.
So now that has to be carefully listened, heard and then followed.
Yeah.
But it is these things only happen in a traditional Bharatanatyam repertoire.
Right.
Where you start with a puja and it goes on with all the traditional items. But nowadays, our Padmini Dahanayaka teacher, she being a Sinhalese, she was from Kalakshetra, no? The first dance school that was institutionalized in South India. Padmini Dahanayaka was the first Sinhala teacher who learnt and came. So in her Arangetrams, to cater to that community, I have seen she gives all her items with Sinhala lyrics.
Right.
So that was the reason that she gave her Arangetrams in that manner. And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Actually, even in North India, they have spoken to so many professors who are doing their Arangetrams in Hindi. Their lyrics are in Hindi. So actually, the Natya Shastra is widely open, where you can build mansions of beauty over the time. It's not stick to that particular thing.
Yeah.
Bharata has given the freedom. You can build up new productions, new themes, but based on the grammar.
Miss, now let's talk a little bit about the costume. I'm always in awe of the Bharatanatyam costume. It's very colorful, and the way, even the way the dancers drape the sari. Is there a story behind the costumes, Miss?
It's all for beauty, no?
Yeah.
So at the beginning, the Vadasis used to wear a sari and they made their own pleats and then dropped it there, and they were decorated with all ornaments. They painted their hands when you hold gestures, so when the hands are all painted with rings and all, it gives an attraction.
Yeah.
And those days they didn't have this lipstick and all, no? So they chew beetle leaves and
Right.
made their lips all red. But they used this chandana and sandalwood and yellow saffron to make them fair. Like that, they made themselves beautiful with decorated flowers with the bindi and all, with lot of jewels which they wore, and they performed to show that they were like a goddess performing, because it was all a temple ritual at the beginning. So to match the temple, they were dressed like brides when they performed.
Miss, what about even the makeup? Is as you mentioned, it's even the eyes. There's a lot of emphasis when you watch a Bharatanatyam dancer. There's a lot of the makeup is done brilliantly.
Yeah, nowadays we use all the pancakes and whatever makeups with all elaborated eyes, because our expression is brought out through the eyes.
Exactly.
So the eye has to be very well done so that you can see each and every mood. You know, we have this Navarasa called 9 moods, where it is very well brought out through our eyes, cheeks, lips, the whole part of the body. But mainly the face has to be very, bringing out the mood, the face has to be all done well. Not only the face, head to toe, but yeah.
Miss, is there a name for the Bharatanatyam costume, or is it just called a sari, as most of us know in common?
It is called a made-up costume, where you can make a costume where a full sari is cut and done into a beautiful costume, or you drape a sari and you can perform, but it has to be done properly.
Of course.
When you're dancing, nothing should drop. It has to be neat.
Miss, what about the music? Is there like protocol for music to when you choose a dance? Of course, you choose it according to the event and the mood of the event, so on and so forth. But is there standard from ancient time music that has been used? Is there some sort of story?
Yes. So the music, when it is repertoire, Bharatanatyam repertoire, Arangetram mainly, we stick to tradition. We use all traditional items, and the lyrics of course can change according to the community for them to follow as you wanted. Like it's much easier, people are happy.
Yeah.
And it's done with all traditional Carnatic music.
Right.
Yes, but when it comes to a production where it is a dance drama, there we use, to make the full drama more effective and to bring out the theme, we can use Western music, even North Indian music according to the theme. But on the base of Bharata classical music, we use these musics also, and we produce the production which has more, according to the story. When you get other musics, even other dance forms into it, we get a lovely production. Recently I had a program that was last month, 28th.
Okay.
Evolution of dances in Sri Lanka. Evolution of dance in Sri Lanka. Where I started, how we started, just no dance, we had a Vadda tribal dance.
Right.
And then how, according to our regions, Udarata, Patharata, these dances, Sabragamo dance, where they were all in their native places, how they were created, how they were formed in a Guru Gedara. At the meantime, in temples at that time, when kings were ruling Sri Lanka, we believe there were Devadasis here. So how in a temple, how a Devadasi performed. And through time, then in the British period, where our cultural exchange took place, where they brought in their dance forms and we were exposed to this. And then later on, how the dancers grew, and how on the lap of Bharatanatyam, where I mentioned, all of Sri Lanka, everyone is very much interested in this dance, and all are learning with love and devotion.
Miss, usually before a performance is done, does a dancer go into meditation? Is there a ritual or process that is done?
There's no ritual as such, but yes, in the ancient times I'm sure there would have been. But now also I tell my students, when you're going to perform, they have to always, with the makeup from that time onwards, they should all learn to be quiet and not just talk or walk around. Just concentrating on what they are dressing, how their bodies, how they feel, and just be quiet and just say a prayer, say your prayers and just be with your God
Yes.
and then relax and come on to stage.
It works, I believe.
It works.
So
Even
Miss-
the little ones are taught. When they come
Really?
for a class, they can't just talk or run around. They have to sit and just meditate, and meditate in the sense to be quiet. Children are very difficult to be kept quiet these
can
days.
imagine.
So they have to, once they walk into the dance room, they have to just sit. If there's another class going on, they need to sit and watch and be quiet.
Miss, how do you help your students, embrace emotions in dance and to understand the feelings and emotions, to go with the movements? What do you do as a teacher?
Before you, now if you're beginning and teaching a new item with expressions, you make the students sit, and then you narrate the story. You tell them what you are going to teach, on whom you are going to teach, and while telling the story, we use the mudra. If I'm going to teach about Rama, so I show Rama is with the bow, and there he's standing with the bow and arrow. Like that we teach the children, where Sita is smiling and looking at Rama, where Lakshmana is standing behind his brother. Like that we slowly show. Then we show the Ravana is coming with all 10 heads. Ravana is coming. And Sita is, when she sees Ravana, how she gets scared. Like she trembles and she worries, she looks for help, she shouts. So all this, by telling the story, we will show all this bhava, and with the story, with the gestures and everything. The child is watching. So when later, when you little by little, stand by stand, when you start teaching, they learn it with devotion and they are happy once they know the story.
Miss, what are some common movements that you all use? I think we would love to see a few, maybe hand gestures as you did. It was lovely.
Common movements in the sense,
There's something that applies to all ages of Bharatanatyam dancers, maybe the basics, Miss.
Basics, we start with all, the position is called Araimandi, and then you're made to sit in a half position there, making your body all half and sitting on equal
With the legs.
torso, legs all turned to the side, and the beats. That's first the training of the feet. Then comes the hands, both hands equally held like that. There's mudras, almost 67 to 70 mudra, adavas we call, steps.
Yeah.
So once they master that, it takes at least 3 years for a small child, from the age of 6, it takes till she's about 9, depending on her ability. And then once they are mastered with their adavas only, we go into the items, where first Nritta is introduced in items. Nritta is pure dance. There's no expression there. But then when you say there's no expression, you cannot just dance like that. So when you hold the hand, there's a smile, there's a look, you're happy, you bring a happy mood there. You don't just stand like this and dance. So the happy mood starts there, and then with storytelling dance formats, they bring in their inner feelings through bhava. Sometimes even without any lyrics, when we want to bring out something through music, you can do. So Bharatanatyam is a very rich dance form which has its own language. You don't need language actually. You can bring out any mood, any character, whatever, through this dance form.
Wonderful, Miss. I think it's time we head into our first break this evening. Remain with us and we will be back. Welcome back to the show this evening, and we are in conversation with Dr. Nirmala John, a brilliant seasoned Bharatanatyam dancer. So once again, thank you for being on the show, and we have so much to talk about, and we also have a bit of a snippet where she will give us a bit of a hint on what she actually does. But before that, Miss Nirmala, I would like to ask you, now, how do you actually judge a successful Bharatanatyam dancer? Is it based on the qualifications or is it based on the talent of the dancer, usually?
Talent. Some might have their qualifications, but they won't be able to
Exactly.
perform. they might be good speakers.
Yeah.
But dancing is all about body movement, skills.
Exactly.
Knowledge is there, you should have the knowledge. But mainly it is knowledge plus skills, body movements. So when you see a child or even an adult performer with full of body skills who is performing so well, so you judge her by her talents.
So in terms of being expressive and creative, now Bharatanatyam, Miss Nirmala, is a discipline also. There is a method, there are mudras as you mentioned, but let's say, does a dancer have let's say the freedom to sort of give an impromptu dance within the routine? Does a dance have the creative freedom of expression?
Of course, yes. So I told you, Bharatanatyam Shastra has given space for creative dancers not to just keep it for themselves just as a stagnant pond. It should flow like the Ganga. If new creations, new waters should come. So creations is allowed within the grammar of Natya Shastra.
Miss, since we are talking about creativity, I think our viewers this evening and everyone watching us today would actually like to see something creative from you. Any snippet or act or dance act maybe you could show us in a few seconds. I think it would be adding much color to this conversation.
Of a Varnam, a Todi Raga Varnam, where it's about Lord Shiva, where the dancer is yearning to see this Lord. And then she realizes he's so angry with her, but she asks why. Don't be angry with me. So I'll do that.
Sure, Miss, definitely.
Okay. So it starts. You are looking at this Lord, you are waiting, yearning for him, right? Then you are saying, Rupamu Jochi. You are looking at his beauty. Valachi Vachedini Rupamu Jo. You are holding a mudra there. Oh, it's used for Shiva. Uchi Valachi. You're looking at his beauty. Vachidini. That's the Pallavi. Then goes the other Anupallavi. Kobamu. Very angry. Dura. Don't be angry with me. Swami Inda. Then Kobamu She Dura. Swami Inda.
Miss, there is no chance of you continuing, Miss, for the rest of the program. It was brilliant, Miss. So it's basically a lot of expression. More than the, I mean, there is a movement.
Yeah, so
going,
if
but
you
it's a lot
don't know
of
the
facial
lyrics
expression.
also, when you see the expression,
Yeah.
you will follow the dance, because when you give a synopsis at the beginning, so when you see, you will follow.
And Miss, you
So the
give a-
dancer has
yeah.
to be extremely good in bringing out
And Miss, you did a lot
expressions.
of expressions using the eyes.
That's what we say. I
A
make
lot of the eye movements, and I think I got the story by just watching the
I
movement
told
of the
you,
eyes.
yeah. If you have expression, it's delivered.
That was a brilliant performance by Dr. Nirmala John. So, Miss, now you do send your students for competitions as well from your academy.
They do go, and they do exams also.
Yeah. So, Miss, on what basis is a Bharatanatyam dancer judged on? Of course, rhythm, expression, but are there any other criteria that comes into play?
A dancer firstly needs to be very much devoted. Sometimes, you don't get expression and all at once. But by devotion, dedication, with discipline, they learn this art form. So with time, there are dancers who bloom out to be beautiful, good, perfect dancers.
Miss, now when you started back in the day, over the years, you have definitely seen how Bharatanatyam and also different other dances have evolved over the years and over the course of time. Now even Bharatanatyam, we see this common element coming in, a common word that we hear, and that is fusion, a dance fusion act. Sometimes we see Bharata and a ballet coming together, Western classical ballet and Indian classical dance. So that's two classical dances coming together. And of course, in Sri Lanka we see Bharatanatyam and Kandyan dancing. So this fusion, Miss Nirmala and Dr. Nirmala, seniors in the dancing industry, like veterans in the dancing industry, they are used to that classical dancing culture. Is it an issue when they merge two different styles of dancing together?
No, not at all, because it's all to do with rhythm, no? Rhythm and movement. So each dance form has its own style. So when we blend these dances, actually it's very beautiful to see unity in culture.
Yeah.
So that's no problem. I don't think nowadays this generation teachers are that much, they are not into criticizing these things. They are all, most of the young children teachers are doing it also, and even we have done it.
Yeah. So Miss, you are saying it's a good thing
It's
to
a
have
good thing. So
difference of
cultural
cultures
interchange,
coming in.
you are blending different cultures together, it's fine.
Yes. Miss, now qualifications to be a teacher, to teach students as a qualified teacher, do we have the necessary exams here in Sri Lanka, or do we have to go overseas?
We have the North Ceylon Oriental Music Society, which conducts once a year exam where we send our pupils. And then from India, there are so many schools who come and conduct their exams, mainly this Bath Kanda. So there are a lot of exams going on here in Sri Lanka, and our government is mainly sponsoring Bharatanatyam, and it's taught in every school, government schools, and then universities are uplifting this dance form. So there's no barrier in learning or producing.
Miss, now in terms of misconceptions, sometimes certain people might come up to you and say, Dr. Nirmala or Miss Nirmala, is this true about Bharatanatyam? And then you will say, no, that is not true. Have you come across any such
What
myths
is true?
in terms of Bharatanatyam? Someone might say there might be different myths or stories. Then you say that is never true about Bharatanatyam. And have you encountered
What
any
sort of a story?
different stories? Like
No, so
myths?
this we all know it. This
Yeah.
Bharatanatyam was a temple ritual where these beautiful girls were performing, who offered their lives willingly, or through poverty they were given to temples, or by making what do you call, barayak vela kiyanne something,
An offering.
an offering, and
Yeah.
then they give these children to these temples
As a vow.
as a vow. So it was a temple ritual where they learned. So later on in India, when the king system, the North Indian kings from Mughalayars who came and destroyed temples, and lot of things happened, and the girls were misused, and temples were ruined, and the kings were all, that king system was abolished, and these girls had no way of living, and through with poverty, how when they got destroyed, some took their lives away who didn't want to go into bad ways of living. Some had to survive, so they had to take chances and sell their lives.
Yeah.
So this way, when it came bad, there was a place where they had to stop
Yeah.
dancing. So it was all banned and no dances. But then Rukmini Devi, a Brahmin girl married to a Christian priest who was working for this Theosophical Society, Rukmini Devi, where she met this Christian priest Arundale and got married to him. Then she also couldn't live there in India because it's two different communities. No? Then they left to Australia, where she learned ballet from a ballerina called Anna Pavlova, and there she heard, when on her return back to India with her husband, she told her, you go in and see, there is a very rich dance form there in India, and you try to bring that out, you try to learn it, this is nothing, go there and get it. So when she returned with the help of this priest, her husband, she went into these Devadasis' homes,
Right.
and they were all hiding from the public. They were not allowed to perform. It was banned, no? So she went there, learned this dance form, and she founded first institution was the Kalakshetra dance institute, where this temple ritual was brought out to the proscenium stage, where she started with one student, her cousin, and brought in the gurus who taught the Devadasis into this school. She learned this from them, the music and thala and all you have to learn. It's not just
Yeah.
a simple art form. So learned it. Then a lot of when the other families who saw a Brahmin girl is running this, everybody started coming into this school, and that's how again it was revived. And the name from Sadir, Bharatanatyam, was given by Rukmini Devi. And from Sri Lanka, so many went. So the first dance guru who returned from Kalakshetra, this place, India, in the 1950, was Nirmala John Pillai. Then Haridevi Jayasundara, then Tilagavadi Kanagasabai, our guru Padmini Dahanayaka, all they were the first products from Kalakshetra who came to Sri Lanka, and they were the main gurus who were teaching.
So that is a very long history and a very rich history, Miss, if we talk about it. Miss, my next question for you is, correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, it's sometimes maybe it's a drawback on my end as well, but do we see more female Bharatanatyam dancers, or is it, I have not really seen much male Bharatanatyam dancers, Miss?
You're correct.
Am I right?
In Sri Lanka, we have a few male Bharatanatyam dancers, more female dancers.
Is there a reason for that, Miss?
Reason maybe the boys are put to shame when they are small, when they are learning, oh, she's like a girl. But that's not true, no? But our society is such that they make fun of it. But there are boys who learn breaking these barriers. But as you say, majority are females.
In Sri Lanka, Miss. But I think beyond the borders of Sri Lanka, there is a community.
There is
of
in
male
India,
Bharatanatyam.
there are a lot of male dancers. In Sri Lanka, yes, in Jaffna, Batiklo, we see a lot of dancers.
Is it the same sort of body movement, Miss, for male and female?
They are
or is it-
also, Bharatanatyam is a dance form which was very feminine. Rukmini Devi, who took it from the Devadasis, she polished it and made it look very defined.
Right.
Yeah, it was, when Devadasis performed, it was much more mesmerizing and it was beautiful. But for our people to bring it to a proscenium stage, it had to be polished and it had to have its own respect. To regain its beauty.
Yeah.
So she took away all the stigma from it, and then she made a proper costume, which they were all draping saris, made proper costume. Even the lyrics, which was very personal lyrics, she eliminated those and brought in good proper lyrics where you are talking to God. It's devotional. She made it devotional, this dance being more divine to the dancer and the God, where it had connection. And it is true, Bharatanatyam is a very spiritual dance form, which is parallelly it's grown with yoga, with meditation, where when you are into deep dancing, you go into a trance where you are more elevated from earth and you become a divine being.
Miss, what do you have to tell any aspiring dancers if they want to begin their journey in Bharatanatyam dancing? What do you have to tell someone watching us today?
Do what you like, but if you're really interested in dancing, yes, learn it properly. You need to go to a proper guru and learn it properly and be dedicated. First you should love the art. You must know what you are learning. Then go and learn, and then dedication, devotion is very important. So with these qualities, you start learning. It's not an easy art form because you have to put in your effort, your love, your time, and make sure that you are following the rules and regulations and learn it properly. And yeah, the guru will guide you and you can achieve what you want.
Miss, as much as you were talking about commitment, discipline, it applies to normal life as well, isn't it?
It is. As a human, you need to be disciplined. So it applies. But this is much more because those days when the dancers were learning, it was not like this, be it like learning in a classroom, like learning in a field, PT field. It's nothing like that. At that time, you were under a roof of a guru where you were with the guru learning all his knowledge, his skills, staying under the same roof. You lived there. But now it is not that. Now you go for sessions, classroom.
Yeah. Now you have to pay money.
Pay money, and then you have to go and then learn, and the whole day you are not spending with your guru here. You
It's about 1 or
2 hours, yes. So it's a long process to learn. But then it was not that. You have with your guru and then you learn all, you imbibe all his qualities and you become a real divine artist.
Miss, on a lighter note, you went to Holy Family Convent, Bambalapitiya,
Yeah.
but now you are at your rival school, that is St. Bridget's Convent, as a Bharatanatyam
Now I'm
teacher
a Bridgetine
there.
because I've completed 25 years.
Teaching at St. Bridget's.
Now it's my 30th year. Yeah, when you finish 25 years, they give you a card that you are a Bridgetine. So now I'm a Bridgetine.
So Miss, what does it feel like working with the children in school in addition to teaching in
very
private?
beautiful, nice. I have retired this year, but still I'm going because the sisters love me. They want me to come, so I'm going still. Till end of this year, I'll be with them.
Yes, so the reason I kept calling her Miss Nirmala is because she was also my teacher back in school, and so which is why I have immense respect for you, Miss. So as time is catching up, Miss, what is your take-home message to everyone watching us today? Your closing remarks, your closing message, anything positive or uplifting you want to
Beautiful,
tell?
without any interruption. The program took place. I didn't even know that I'm being interviewed. I was so happy to be with you, Mariela,
Likewise,
and
Miss.
all your members of the crew and everybody from in that room who are recording this event. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
No problem, Miss. And the honor was actually ours to have you in the studio, and we would like to wish you nothing but the absolute best, Miss. So that wrapped things up, and I was in conversation with Natyapoorna, Dr. Nirmala John, Director of Nirmalanjali Academy of Bharatanatyam. And that brings us to the end of yet another edition of the Spotlight. Join me again next week for a story that will ignite change. Until we meet again, stay safe.